What you might call the signature works of the artist Frank Stella are on view this spring at a museum outside New York City. Reason enough for Martha Teichner to pay the artist a return visit.
It was a pretty complete expression of the star, using the star as a motif.
Frank Stella's name means star in Italian, and for decades that was the problem, the reason he stopped making them.
When I started out, I didn't really want to hear about my name was Stella and I made a shape painting of a star.
But then, computer design technology came along, and 3D printing. Suddenly, the star had possibilities.
It's pretty easy to put them together and turn them around and see how they look.
The Aldrich Contemporary Art Museum in Ridgefield, Connecticut, has gathered a small galaxy of Frank Stella's stars. Old and new. They may look really different from each other to you or me, but to the artist, they have something in common other than being stars.
So there's surfaces to paint on, and I guess that's why I say, look, it's still about painting in a way.
It's always been about painting. Even 6 decades ago, when the paintings looked like this. In 1959, New York's Museum of Modern Art put some of them in a show, and then bought one. Just out of Princeton, in his early 20s, Stella was a star. He's been one ever since. Whether in the auction prices his work commands,
at $24,500,000,
or the accolades he's received.
The 2009 National Medal of Arts to Frank Stella.
Frank Stella is recognized among America's greatest living artists. According to The New Yorker, he is to abstract art what Bob Dylan is to music. Those painted surfaces Stella talks about, they've changed a lot over the years, morphing into giant collages that turned into sculpture and then headed in the direction of architecture. Why abstraction versus figurative?
Because I didn't like people that much. I didn't want to make
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you know, everybody was doing that. Or I didn't want to spend a lot of time drawing from the model. You know, when you see that poor girl sitting up there on the chair after she has to take off her bathrobe and everything, it's pretty pitiful.
As Stella pushed the boundaries of abstraction, along the way he developed a few artistic obsessions. It's been 20-something years since Frank Stella became fascinated with the idea of turning smoke rings into art. That's how we started our story when Sunday Morning profiled him in 2007. I couldn't resist showing it again. In some ways, this reminds me of the smoke rings, the way they travel.
That's what they are.
They are. Those are smoke rings?
Yeah.
But 14 years later, they've evolved. They're free-floating, three-dimensional, made out of slick painted fiberglass or aluminum tubing. This is called fluid motion. It even looks huge in Frank Stella's airplane hangar-sized studio in upstate New York, which resembles a meander through his brain at various points in his career.
I guess you'd say I'm restless up to a point, yeah. I can't help that.
Still?
Yes.
At 84, he's still tinkering with the forms that interest him.
We call that a puff star. That's in carbon fiber.
It allows it to be curved.
Yeah, that's what makes it expensive.
These models only hint at their full-size versions. This looks like it's coming after me.
Yes, but It's contained in here quite a bit, so it is looming, as they say.
It certainly is. This one in the show at the Aldrich is 21 feet in all directions.
I just really like the feeling of the carbon fiber and the detail of what it actually looks like. The people who did the carbon fiber, they do work for Formula One.
Yes, Formula One race cars.
Were you happy with these results?
Are you kidding? Actually, beyond my imagination.
That's saying something for a man perpetually doing battle with what he sees as problems.
Outside, you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, you know, Mother Nature's quite difficult competitor.
It's raining.
Yeah.
Frank Stella, who spent a lifetime keeping the human form out of his work, admits that humanity has crept in anyway.
And they feel quite comfortable here. So
They feel comfortable?
Comfortable, yeah.
You talk about them like they're people.
Well, they are. You know, I mean, they have to have a certain kind of life of their own and a presence of their own. They seem happy here.
Does that mean Frank Stella has mellowed? That he's any less curmudgeonly about the arc of his long and, I'll say it, stellar career? Hardly.
You know, I went from being a young artist to a middle-aged artist to a mature artist, and now I'm a is he still alive artist.
Do you have any sense of what you'd like your legacy to be?
I don't, I'm not a legacy person.
Ever the contrarian, he'd rather just hit rewind.
It would be probably a lot more satisfying to people if I started out like this and then ended up with the black painting. If you played my career back the other way, people would say, oh, look how fantastic he ended up with those beautiful paintings at the end.